just one brief announcement before I start this video, then I'm going to get the show rolling. I decided to keep these videos a bit of a mystery. So every time I upload a video, I will upload it with the thumbnail of the number it's on and just, you know, say that Magical Girl Countdown number 9. And then when I do the 8th video, I'll put the proper title and the proper thumbnail in the previous video and keep it going that way, just to keep a little bit of suspense going on as to what the shows I'm going to be talking about are, you know, just to keep things interesting. With that being said, let's start with my number 9th pick, which is a parody of Magical Girls and was an unexpected surprise for me.
Fly away now, fly away.
Yes, I'm talking about Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. This was a surprise for me because when I first heard of this show, I just thought this must be the most like fan servicey, ridiculous show on the face of the planet. And to a degree, it kind of is. So what is the plot of this show? That's a very good question. And a quick sort of summary about the show. It's about these two fallen angel sisters named Panty and Stocking who were kicked out of heaven, and in order to return they have to collect a bunch of these heaven coins by defeating the ghosts in Dayton City. However, Panty and Stocking are both complete fuck-ups and really don't have any drive to do anything, although Stocking's a little bit more serious. Really, Panty's priorities are screwing and Stocking's priority is eating. And they don't really focus that much on their job. They seem to actually care about people, which is kind of stranger than they're angels, considering they're so sort of amoral in their mentality. But anyway, both of the sisters have a magical girl ability. Like, you know how magical girl shows, like, something ridiculous could be turned into a weapon, like, you know, butterflies or whatever. Well, in this show, Panty can turn her panties into guns, and Stocking can turn her stockings into katanas. And I'm sure at this point everyone's like, Melina, what the hell? Why do you like this anime? What could it possibly offer? It sounds ridiculous. And honestly, this is number 9 on my list because I legitimately think it's a funny and interesting parody of the magical girl genre. I think that, because first of all, it's made by Gainax, and it's like, they know what they're doing. And this whole thing is making fun of not just magical girls, but the whole, you know, different sort of genres. They have an episode about Transformers. You know, the character of Chuck is obviously an XP of Gur from Invader Zim, and all of the animation style looks like a, you know, a Hanna-Barbera Nicktoon cartoon show. So, like, it looks like Powerpuff Girls. It legitimately looks like Powerpuff Girls with lots of, like, more kooky designs. And I feel like what this show does is it gets to the core of the things that are silly about magical girl shows, like having to catch all these specific things, or, you know, find these specific things, you know, the gotta catch them all aspect of the show, the, you know, transformation sequences that are ridiculous and long, because literally the transformation sequence for Panty and Stocking is like they turn into their angel form and they go to like the stripper pole, they like shimmy off their underwear and their stockings, and this is kind of like, what? But, you know, they're playing off. It is ridiculous, it is over the top, but it knows what it's talking about. And it's not mean. A lot of the times when people try to parody something, they just go from parody straight into just bashing it. And I feel like what this show does is that it doesn't bash what it's talking about or making fun of. It's simply pointing out the ridiculousness by being just as ridiculous, just taking it to another degree, you know? And I appreciate that. I like making fun of stuff that I enjoy, and I think this show does it in a really entertaining way. It is, I wouldn't say smart necessarily, because I don't think that it's making fun of it is smart, but I think that how the dialogue is written, how the characters are, with the exception of one, and I'll get to that in a second, is really well maintained. The humor is a lot of fun. A lot of it sometimes gets lost in translation, but the dub for this show is actually really good. And I haven't had a lot of good experiences with dubs as I've been comparing and contrasting. But for the dub for this show is very strong, and I think that if you're interested in doing it and you want to watch it in English because you prefer dubs, you're going to get a really good dub in Panty and Stocking It with Garterbelt. So I'm really happy about that. And just, when I watched this show, I enjoyed it wholeheartedly. I feel like it really understood what it was talking about. But let's talk briefly about the characters in the show, because really what makes this show work is that I really enjoy the main two leads. And the two leads are, well, first is Panty. She's the older of the two sisters, and she is just so damn funny. She kind of reminds me of Samantha from Sex and the City, because she's kind of got the kind of, like, personality, but she's also very, like, over the top. Like, she's like a weird cross between, like, Samantha and Blossom from Powerpuff Girls. And it's actually quite funny to me. Pam doesn't really care about returning to heaven as much. Her goal while she's on Earth is to have sex with 1,000 guys before she returns to heaven. And as soon as I heard that, I just kind of like, I get it, show. I get what you're trying to do. I got it. Kudos to you, Panty. Kudos. But, however, she actually shows a lot of depth throughout the series. Well, not a lot of depth. That would be over-exaggerated. She does show some depth. When she cares for her sister, when, you know, her relationship with Brief is sort of explored later on in the series, you see that she's not just shallow, but for the most part, because the show is for a comedy and not really a romance or anything like that, it's mostly played up. She's a very ridiculous character, and even though it's played up to extremes, at the same time, you still enjoy her. You enjoy the role that she brings. You enjoy the fact that she has these weird sexual adventures. I mean, she can turn other guys' underwear into guns, but the guns depend on the penis size, and it's just funny, and I enjoy what her character brings to the show, and I think that she's the stronger of the two leads personally. And yeah, so she's my favorite. Stocking is the younger of the sisters, and she's obsessed with sweets. She loves candy. That's her obsession, and she talks about how, like, she can eat as much candy as she likes because it just goes to her boobs, and she doesn't have to worry about gaining weight. Which I think is funny, and also, in almost all of these magical girl shows, there's always the female character who, like, her flaws is that she can't do math, she's clumsy, and she eats a lot. And, you know, that's Stocking. Stocking is that chick. But then, like, she gains, like, a little bit of, she gains weight. And she just gains so much weight. And she gets so depressed. And then she, like, does, like, these crazy losing techniques thing. It's funny because you see what they're parodying. Because that's that character that she is. And it's just funny having her play in such a nonchalant kind of way that I really enjoy that about Stocking. A lot of what makes her funny is how she is that character, but kind of made more like, meh, I don't care. Like, I see her as, like, Sakura if she didn't give a shit. It's kind of like who she would be. She even carries around this little, like, cat figurine with her. She is supposed to be that more cutesy character, but she just doesn't really give a shit because she has that kind of, like, goth look to her. And anyway, she can turn her two Stockings into katanas. And I do enjoy Stocking a lot. I do think that, like, she's an interesting character, but I don't think, like, she carries the show as well as Panty does. Like, you need them both together to have a really entertaining dialogue in the show, because I don't think that Stocking really can carry the episodes by herself. She needs Panty. However, the one episode centric that they had with her, where she fell in love with that ghost that smelled really bad, was very entertaining, and I did enjoy that. So yeah, Stocking is a good character, but she needs to play off Panty, because she's more of a straight man in this show, which is very odd considering the nature of this show that there is a straight man, but she would probably be that, even more so than Brief. Then there's Garterbelt, who I actually don't like. I actually hate his character. I actually kind of find him to be kind of just like a really bad stereotype of, like, predatory black homosexual men, and it just kind of like, he's not funny, and I don't find his character segments to be that entertaining. There is some stuff where, like, it'll kind of be like a one-off joke, but I feel like of all the people in the main cast, he kind of brings it down a little bit because he's not really necessary. He's there to be kind of like that guiding male figure, like, in every, like, for some reason. But it's like, they don't really need that because the sisters aren't really, you know, here to hear all that crap. They're not really morally anywhere. So it's just kind of like, he's like kind of a waste of a character who's just there to, like, fulfill a role and really just be creepy. And I don't really feel like it's done very well. And it just kind of almost insulting in how really poorly handled his character is and how many stereotypes they lump onto him, because it's like that he, like, on the down, he's like a thug and he's just a prostitute. It's just like, it's just too much. I was like, no, you know, I see what you're trying to do, but it's kind of like too much. Then Brief is kind of like a minor character. He's the he's kind of like the butt monkey of the group. He's Panty's love interest, but he's just kind of there to be, like, sprout off his own one-liners, be interested. He's kind of like, you know, the sidekick best friend character, except he's not a best friend, he's just kind of like a tag along. That's who he is, and I think that he does that role really well for what he has to do. And then there's Chuck. Chuck is just like the best effing thing, because you know he's that and all these magical girl shows have like the cute little animal creature character. That's Chuck. He can do all these type of really weird shit, and there's an episode that's all about him and like the anti-Chuck character from the Demon Sister side, and it's just so trippy because first of all, the character is obviously inspired by Gert. You can tell that just by his character design. But, like, he's always doing something really weird or strange in the background of scenes when he's there. I'm just kind of like, I'm always just staring at him like, what are you doing, Chuck? What's going on? It's just very weird. But, I loved him. I love that character, and I think that he's just cute, and he's entertaining, and, you know, he is, again, he's a trope from that genre, or that demographic, excuse me, taken to the next obvious extreme. He just goes over the top. He just does whatever he wants. He's just a fun, entertaining character, and I really enjoy him. So yeah, the characters I feel like really make everything. Then, oh yeah, I forgot. They're the evil sisters. The Damon sisters, Scanty and Knee Socks. Oh my god, they are just, again, and then the villain is named Corset. How can you go wrong? It's just. And they're the red demons. They have the same weird transformation sequences. They have the same exact powers. It's just funny and well written, and everyone plays off each other really well. And I feel like that's what makes this show fun. Everyone plays off each other in a really endearing way. Everyone helps the other become better. The voice acting in both the dub and the original Japanese, really good job. And I feel like all those things come together to make it a really fun parody of a genre that I love very much. And when I was compiling this list, I knew I wanted to put this on the list. I knew it had to be lower because it wasn't as good in terms of narrative as a lot of the other shows that I'm going to be talking about later. But what I wanted to put this on the list was for because I feel like it shows how you can do something fun and entertaining and still love the genre that it's in. I still think that this is a magical girl show, even though it like dabbles into different elements. Again, when I first heard of the show, I thought, this is stupid. It's called Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. How could this be worth anything? And I think, you know, that's the thing about comedy, is that sometimes people don't think comedy can be worth anything because it's just meant to be funny. But I think it's hard for something to be successful and be funny. Making you laugh is hard. I know I've watched a lot of things that are supposed to be funny in terms of like anime or like be kind of like site parodies, and I'm just like, this isn't funny. This is barely even cute. I just can't deal with it. But I felt like this was very successful. And you can see little clips of it online because it is licensed by Funimation. So if you're interested in it, check it out. Feel free to check out the Wikipedia page. I think it has a lot to offer in terms of being a fun parody of something I love very much. And I would highly recommend it, although I do think that like if you're not into like really explicit, you know, really sexual or humor like that, it probably might not be for you. But I love it. And someone probably might ask me about how I feel about Panty's sexual exploitations. Honestly, I have no problem with it. I don't care, men, women, what, you know, whatever you identify with gender-wise, do you. Sleep with whoever you want. Just, you know, be protected. That's the most important thing. So I don't care that Panty sleeps with a lot of guys. It doesn't bother me at all. The downside, and the major downside I think in terms of this story, is the ending. The last episode, actually, this is what happens. The last two episodes in this show are actually trying to be something of like a narrative story-wise, but the ending is really weird because you feel like they're kind of like, it was to start another season, but it never got picked up. So it's got like this weird kind of like, what the hell kind of ending it is. And I feel like the ending really like holds the series back because it doesn't seem like it's a standalone anymore. It just kind of seems like, yeah, we had an idea, didn't work out. And I don't think they're making another season of this show, so it really feels that way. It's just kind of weak the way it ends, and that's another reason why it's lower on this list. So, thank you guys for checking up on this number 9 video about my top 9 favorite magical girl series. The next anime I will be going through will be very cute and friendshipy, but I will be talking about why that's a good thing. So I look forward to seeing you guys with it next week, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy!